What's up, everybody? This is Terrell Davis, and here I am again making another video. This time I'm actually reviewing the Raw episode, and in my last video I was actually reviewing the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, which, in addition to the reviews to all the pay-per-views, I'm actually going to do a review to the Raw and SmackDown episodes. And in this case, I'm reviewing last night's episode of Raw, which, in my opinion, is very interesting. Only reason why I say that is because it was a snowed-in episode, so, and mainly because in the Northeast there's a big snowstorm going on, so it really impacted the show, and impacted, the production trust, because nobody could really travel anywhere, and I thought this is going to be very, very interesting. And there wasn't any matches, unless you count the triple threat match and the Royal Rumble match itself, when they replayed that, and honestly that was pretty cool for people who actually didn't see the match. And it was very, very interesting. And I mean, they even got the interview, the likes of Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and it would make for an interesting episode. So getting into it, I honestly thought it was very authentic, especially with the interviews and things like that. Michael Cole, JBL, Booker T, Byron Saxton, all of them, like they were sitting down with each wrestler, and they were giving out the interviews, and it came across as authentic. And one in particular, I mean, you gotta think about Roman Reigns. I mean, he has gone through a lot of I wouldn't say scrutiny, probably scrutiny by most of the WWE fans, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But I think it was very important that we had this episode. To be honest, I think it was a blessing in disguise, because it honestly showed off the authenticity of each wrestler, especially Roman Reigns, and it would make to be an interesting night. So, first off, they talked with Seth Rollins, and obviously Seth Rollins was upset that he didn't win at the Royal Rumble, and he definitely made it known that he was upset, and the fact that he said that he underestimated Brock Lesnar, which is true, but he also said that Brock Lesnar underestimated him, which I would say that'd be true, because Seth Rollins is very unpredictable, and he's willing to do anything to win. And so that part, Brock Lesnar did underestimate on Seth Rollins. Having said that, he still has that Money in the Bank briefcase, which I'm sure he's gonna use that sometime down the road. And I would only imagine it'd probably be at WrestleMania. That'd be the only logical time he would pretty much use it. But and then we go on to Brock Lesnar, which, the guy is a beast. There's no doubt about that. He is a beast, and he is one of my favorite wrestlers. And the fact that he got up after many thought he was injured, and still winning the match, and still competed, and still won, and still retained his title, that really says a lot about him, just about his toughness, and he's living up to the Beast, and living up to that moniker of the Beast Incarnate, and he truly is the Beast Incarnate. Paul Heyman has done a great job of building him up over the years, and which is why I think his role in this match, Paul Heyman's role in this match at WrestleMania is going to be very, very important. And I'll get into that part a little bit later. So, and then as we go on, so we're looking at Roman Reigns' interview. Now, he's gone through a lot of scrutiny last night. Actually, the last night and the night before, about that he wasn't ready for the main event scene and that type of thing. I mean, honestly, when I look back at it, I'm just like, who is saying that he's not ready, you know? I mean, it's the internet community, internet wrestling community that's saying that he's not ready. I mean, a bunch of people that sit around on a computer all day, probably not even in shape themselves, saying that he's not ready for the main event scene. Really? The guy has busted his butt for 4 years, pretty much. He's been in the WWE for a while. I mean, his work with the Shield was authentic, and you know, it was original, and it brought him to where he is now. Him, Ambrose, and Rollins. Like, those three guys, I would say that the future is going to go through them with this in the WWE. And then, so last night was very, very important that he got a chance to be interviewed, because it allowed him to kind of just remind everybody about his lineage. And that was the first time, like, for me it wasn't the first time. I knew he was already related to The Rock. I knew he was related to the Usos, but it gave him a chance to remind everybody else that he was related to those guys. And the fact that he brought that up now, I think it was very important, because now it's showing people that he's not just a somebody that is main eventing WrestleMania. He's not a part-timer. He's not a person who's gonna, you know, not a movie star. So what's the problem? You know what I mean? And it's actually funny that just a year ago, everybody was so upset that he did not win the Rumble, that Batista got the chance over him. And here we are a year later, and WWE yet again giving you what you want, and you don't want it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, in WWE, I beg of you, please do not change the main event for WrestleMania. Okay? Like, it does not need to be changed. Okay? But getting back to Roman Reigns, now, it allowed him an opportunity to remind people that he had to work for everything that he got in his short time with the WWE. He had to work for everything. Nothing was given to him. He had to scratch and claw his way to the top. I mean, his act with the Shield, like, that act could have flopped right away, but they clawed their way to the top. They made sure that they left it all out there every single night. And it pretty much brought all of them to where they are today, especially Reigns. So you had to remind people of that, and you had to remind people about his lineage. And I think that was smart by the WWE to bring that up, because never before, if you notice that, never before has Reigns ever brought that up until now. He was always bent on carving his own path, like just creating a path for himself, and he never did bring that card up until now. And I thought that was very interesting, because it made part of the fan base, you know, kind of thinking like, man, like, what do we do? Like, what have we done? And especially like with The Rock out there, like, you know, supporting his family, man. Like, you're booing and disrespecting Reigns. It's like you're booing and disrespecting The Rock, man. Like, that's The Rock's family. You know, this is a new generation here, and you're just spitting in his face. But it was very authentic, And there was no scripts, no creative, no nothing. No mics, no rings, no nothing. It was very authentic. It was Reigns being real, just saying, hey, this is where I come from. You know, I didn't use my lineage as an excuse. I worked hard for everything that I got in my life. Which brings me to Daniel Bryan. Now, me, myself, I think Daniel Bryan is very, very talented. Don't get me wrong. This is not going to be a Daniel Bryan bash fest. Okay? I mean, he's upset that he didn't last longer in the Rumble. I don't blame him. I would be upset too. But I honestly think that, you know, the way that the crowd reacted, you know, I would never forget that. You know, it's just, they were so upset that Bryan was eliminated so early in the match. Maybe even some of them were even upset that he didn't even win at all, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be Roman Reigns' problem. I mean, Roman Reigns won that fair and square. Okay? And the sooner that people realize that, the sooner that they can get off of Roman Reigns' back and start to support him again. The same people that, you know, booed and, you know, spat on the name of Roman Reigns are going to be the same people that are going to be cheering him later on. You know what I mean? And the fact that, you know, Daniel Bryan, he's upset that he didn't win, but, you know, and I'm reading reports that, you know, WWE has other plans for him come WrestleMania, you know, including his opponent, which could either be Sheamus or it could be, you know, Dolph Ziggler, which I'd honestly like to see him versus Dolph Ziggler. I think that'd be a pretty good match. And then the next interview after that, Dean Ambrose. The guy's crazy. You know, I think he's coming along real nice. You know, it was a short time. You know, he's pretty much said, you know, he's ready for the road to WrestleMania. He's ready to take on any challenge, and you know, I really respect the guy. I respect his work. I respect Seth Rollins' work. I respect Roman Reigns' work. I really think that the future really does go through all of them, all three of them, to be honest with you. And then it brings me to the final interview. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar finally meet. Now, I have to say right now that Paul Heyman, this guy's gonna go to the Hall of Fame one day, because that whole interview, it was something powerful. I mean, he went from showing Reigns his respect because of his lineage and the fact that he won the Royal Rumble. Then he went and started talking about The Rock, and then how The Rock could not beat Brock Lesnar. And he pretty much challenged Roman Reigns and says, how are you going to feel when Brock Lesnar beats you? And it was a very powerful interview. And not only that, I mean, Roman Reigns, he got into the face of Brock Lesnar. He said, you know, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to take that title with me. And he says, if I can't beat you, then I'm going to take a piece of you with me. And I think that was very significant. That's the piece that they need to build on this matchup for WrestleMania. Because I feel as though with Paul Heyman in the mix, he will carry both of those guys. He had the tools to make Lesnar over with the crowd. He's going to have tools to make Reigns over with the crowd. Just by using his lineage, just by, just for that fact alone that, Reigns is representing his family, his family, long line wrestlers that have been champions, and that their names have represented champions. And so, with that being said, they were face to face on Reigns and Lesnar, and the most powerful quotes came after they shook hands and they were face to face, and Brock Lesnar just said, "I like Heyman, I don't respect you," and Reigns replies, "But you will." And that was it. My thoughts about this, again, WWE, do not change this matchup. Please, just leave it the way it is. Because we're going to see something powerful. We're going to see the match of the year. Okay? This is going to be a Slammy nominee. This is going to be a Slammy winner. This is going to be the match of the year. We have Roman Reigns, the guy who's never, ever competed for the WWE Championship ever in his career, going up against Brock Lesnar, an established champion, a decorated champion, a prize fighter. I mean, this is like Muhammad Ali versus Mike Tyson, if you will. Muhammad Ali in his prime, Mike Tyson in his prime. I mean, we're gonna look at greatness here. And the fact that everybody's saying that Reigns is not ready because he's working his in-ring work, he's working his mic work, he's been improving. He's shown that he can carry on a match. He's shown that he can do his thing on a mic. If they give him better lines, a better script, okay. But if they have what they had last night, where there was no script, or it's just him just being real, you got yourself something there, buddy. But my suggestion, just to make the matchup even sweeter at WrestleMania, is why not put The Rock in the mix? Why not have The Rock be in Reigns' corner? I mean, I think with that in mind, because it would honestly elevate the matchup. It's like The Rock is passing the torch on to his cousin. You know what I mean? The Rock has been where Reigns is going. So why not have him in his corner? Why not have him pass that torch and build him up and just be his mouthpiece come WrestleMania? That promo with The Rock versus Heyman, I mean, we've seen it many times in the past, but it would be something different this time around. And it's always classic when The Rock is talking trash. It's always a classic when Heyman is talking trash. But you imagine if both of them are in the ring at the same time, especially in this magnitude, we're looking at something special here, folks. So for those of you who are doubting this matchup, give it a chance. Because you're sleeping on something great. And honestly, I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for this matchup. I say it's match of the year. I'm sorry. But anyways, if you agree with any of my opinions, or if you don't agree with any of my opinions, just comment below. I'll be happy to talk with you guys about it, and we can pretty much debate. Just subscribe to my page, like this video, and I'll definitely see you guys again this week when I review this episode of SmackDown. I think what's going on with SmackDown at this point is Daniel Bryan's going to be facing Kane in a casket match, which that should be very interesting. And from what I understand, the people who bought tickets for the WWE Raw, that was what's happening yesterday, those tickets are still good for this coming SmackDown episode. So stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for my review video. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Alright, peace.